Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today, I have something special to share with you, so get ready, because this is going to be worth it.
There are secrets so deep that for centuries they have been hidden beneath layers of history and doctrine, waiting for the right moment to emerge. Imagine a knowledge that was subtly erased from sacred texts, an ancient teaching that might have been an essential part of early Christianity but was suppressed, buried under decrees and councils. What if I told you that reincarnation, the idea that our soul lives multiple lives, may have once inhabited the pages of the Bible itself? On today's journey, we will traverse the shadows of history, revisit ancient texts, and probe the decisions that shaped Christian thought. Could it be possible that such a profound truth, a truth that echoes across so many cultures and spiritual traditions, was deliberately silenced? Open your mind and heart and come with me to uncover the mystery. Was reincarnation excluded from the Bible? To understand how the idea of reincarnation could be connected to early Christianity, we must first open the doors of time and visit ancestral civilizations long before Christ walked the earth. The concept of reincarnation was already coursing through the halls of temples, the minds of wise men, and the secret rites of initiates. Beneath the sands of Egypt, where the pyramids observed the passage of time as silent witnesses, Egyptian priests guarded the mystery of the soul's return. To them, death was a transition, a passage from one stage of existence to another. The Book of the Dead, a collection of sacred Egyptian texts, describes how the soul travels and is judged, able to be reborn into a new life or remain in spiritual realms. The soul, in essence, was seen as a traveler destined to return as many times as necessary to achieve harmony. On the other side of the world, along the banks of the Ganges River, another vision of reincarnation blossomed in the Vedic texts of India, written around 1500 BCE. The concept of samsara, the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, emerged. According to ancient Hindu texts, this cycle continues until the soul liberates itself from material attachments and attains moksha, or eternal liberation. The idea is clear: the actions of one life, or karma, shape future existences, establishing a journey of learning that ends only in enlightenment. But perhaps one of the most complex approaches to reincarnation comes from ancient Greece. Pythagoras, the famous philosopher and mathematician, taught his disciples that the soul was immortal and reborn successively. To him, each life was a new opportunity for evolution and learning. Pythagoras believed that the universe possessed a divine order, and reincarnation allowed the soul to ascend through this order until it reached perfection. In his own words, the soul enters new bodies until it is fully purified. Plato, another great Greek thinker, shared this view in his work, Phaedo. Plato recounts how Socrates believed in the transmigration of souls and their spiritual evolution across multiple lives. According to him, pure souls ascended to higher realms while those needing further learning returned to earth. In all these traditions, reincarnation was seen not only as a spiritual reality but as an essential tool for soul improvement. It was believed that each existence allowed for learning, a new chance for moral and spiritual growth. Each life was like a new page in the cosmic book of personal evolution. Against this backdrop, a question arises: if so many cultures embraced reincarnation as a fundamental part of the life cycle, how did Christianity, at least in its modern form, come to reject it? Or did it in fact once accept it? In the first centuries after Christ's death, Christianity was not a uniformly organized religion. Each community had its interpretation of Jesus' words and teachings. There was no official Bible, no central authority dictating doctrine. There was only a deep longing to understand the divine and existential questions. As the Roman Empire expanded and Christianity emerged as a new faith, its earliest followers were far from adhering to the orthodoxy that would later dominate the church. In fact, early Christians possessed a worldview that diverged from the rigid doctrines we know today. It was a time of spiritual experimentation, where the search for universal truths transcended the boundaries of a single earthly life. The human soul was seen as eternal, not confined to a physical body. The focus was not just on the present life, but on the journey of the soul through time, This led many early Christians to consider the possibility that, after death, the soul would return to Earth in a new form as part of a continuous process of purification and evolution. Among the most influential Christians of this period was Origen of Alexandria, who stood out as a proponent of reincarnation. He was not only a theologian but a mystical philosopher deeply influenced by the esoteric traditions of Egypt, Greece, and the Middle East. Origen believed that the soul was not merely a temporary creation of God but had an eternal origin and went through various cycles of life and death. In his most important work, On First Principles, Origen states that the human soul, after leaving the body, would return to Earth in a new incarnation until it achieved complete purification. For him, reincarnation was a form of spiritual evolution. The soul passing through various lives would purify itself and refine itself until it achieved unity with the divine, a concept very similar to what we understand today. Origen did not see reincarnation as a punishment, but as an opportunity for learning and growth. He believed that life experiences were necessary for the soul to perfect itself, and that through them the soul would draw closer to eternal wisdom. He stated that each soul comes into the world strengthened by the victories or weakened by the defeats of previous lives. The idea that the choices and mistakes of one life could influence future existences aligns with the philosophy of cosmic justice that permeated ancient spiritual traditions. For Origen, reincarnation was not foreign to Christianity. On the contrary, he believed it was in perfect harmony with the idea of redemption and purification that Christ himself taught. After all, who better to understand eternity than a soul that had already passed through multiple cycles of existence? Throughout the early centuries, Christianity shaped itself by integrating diverse spiritual and philosophical thoughts, echoing ancient traditions. Among early Christian writings, reincarnation was a topic of discussion, albeit not unanimously accepted. However, by the 6th century, a dramatic event took place, the Council of Constantinople. This powerful gathering, with the authority to reshape Christianity, determined the fate of this doctrine, marking a turning point. The decision to ban reincarnation from official doctrines was not purely theological but also political. Emperor Justinian and his wife, Empress Theodora, led an effort that would eliminate the idea of multiple lives and with it the perspectives of continuous spiritual evolution that transcended a single lifetime. Emperor Justinian was not a man who tolerated dissent. For him, consolidating Christianity under a single set of doctrines was essential, not only for the faith but also to maintain order in his empire. Reincarnation, with its implications of multiple lives and spiritual self-sufficiency, posed a challenge to the central authority of the Church, which sought to control the soul's destiny and redemption. With his politically astute and resolute wife Theodora by his side, Justinian convened the Second Council of Constantinople in 553 AD. This council became a landmark, a watershed moment. With the backing of ecclesiastical leaders closely allied with imperial power, Justinian wielded the council as a tool to establish a uniform doctrine. The Council of Constantinople gathered bishops and theologians from various regions, especially from the Christian East, though there were also some representatives from the West. Key figures present included Patriarch Menas of Constantinople, who presided over the council, and Bishop Vigilius of Rome, who initially resisted certain decisions but ultimately yielded to imperial pressure. The eradication of reincarnation from Christianity was far from a purely theological matter. Reincarnation presented a powerful idea. It implied that each soul was responsible for its own evolution and that through multiple lives, the soul could achieve the purity necessary to unite with the divine. This perspective could distance people from the need for a single mediating institution of salvation. Control over the destiny of the soul was one of the most effective ways to ensure the Church's authority over believers. If people believed they only had one life to secure their salvation, the urgency to follow Church teachings and rituals would increase dramatically. Reincarnation, on the other hand, allowed for the soul to evolve independently across multiple lives and outside of a singular institution. Justinian understood that a church united under one doctrine would strengthen his empire's power. But by removing reincarnation from Christian doctrine, he reinforced the need to seek salvation immediately, without concessions, and always through obedience to the clergy and official teachings. Theodora, Justinian's wife, significantly influenced the exclusion of reincarnation from Christian doctrine, motivated by personal reasons. Before rising to the throne, Theodora's life had been marked by poverty and the social stigma of her past as an actress and prostitute, experiences that instilled a deep fear of being reborn into a new life with similar hardships. This personal fear, combined with Justinian's desire to unify Christian doctrine and strengthen the Church's power as the sole mediator of salvation, promoted the view that each person had only one life to secure the destiny of their soul. Justinian explicitly ordered that the doctrine of reincarnation be deemed heretical. The political pressure was so immense that even the most resistant voices eventually accepted the decision, whether out of fear or convenience. In the end, Origen was declared a heretic, and his ideas on reincarnation were deemed incompatible with official Christian doctrine. Those who attempted to perpetuate his ideas were threatened with excommunication and marginalization. The condemnation of Origen and reincarnation was sealed by a document detailing the anathemas against Origen, formally exiling this belief from official Christian teachings. For many, the Bible is the unchanging Word of God, but could its pages contain hints of a truth obscured over the centuries? What if the concept of reincarnation was an essential teaching of early Christianity that was later excluded by church authorities? In various passages, there are verses suggesting the possibility of the soul's return, which have been reinterpreted or set aside to conform to official dogma. In Matthew 17:10-13, we find one of the most commonly cited examples among those who argue for the presence of reincarnation in the Bible. After the transfiguration of Jesus, the disciples ask about the prophecy that Elijah would come before the Messiah, to which Jesus replies that Elijah has already come, referring to John the Baptist. This mysterious answer from Jesus suggests that John the Baptist was a reincarnation of Elijah, coming to prepare the way for Christ in accordance with ancient prophecy. For early Christians, this response likely had a clear meaning. Reincarnation was part of the spiritual understanding of the time. Jesus does not hesitate to affirm that the prophetic spirit of Elijah has returned in the form of John, as if it were an accepted reality among his followers. Another intriguing passage appears in John 9:1-2, where the disciples, upon seeing a man born blind, ask Jesus, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" This question seems to suggest they believe the man might have sinned in a previous existence, that is, in a past life. If the concept of reincarnation were entirely foreign to the Judeo-Christian context, this question would make no sense. The disciples appear to understand that the soul could have a history of actions beyond this current life, which might explain the man's condition at birth. Jesus does not correct this assumption but expands upon it, indicating that the man's blindness is not due to past sin but is an opportunity for the works of God to be revealed. This dialogue implies an understanding that the soul could carry previous experiences. In John 3:3-7, Jesus tells Nicodemus, "Truly I say to you, unless one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God." Nicodemus, confused, asks how this is possible. Could a man return to his mother's womb? Jesus, however, speaks of a spiritual birth as a second life. This rebirth could be a metaphor for a spiritual renewal, or, as some scholars argue, a veiled reference to a cycle of successive lives that bring learning and purification. Nicodemus, being a religious leader, understood that Jesus was speaking of a profound mystery and not merely a physical rebirth. The literal interpretation does not align with the depth of Jesus' message, which is clear in saying that new birth is key to spiritual evolution, a concept that could easily align with the idea of being reborn across multiple lives. Though suppressed in various Western traditions, the doctrine of reincarnation resurges with strength in modern spirituality as a search for meaning, purpose, and above all, an understanding of our very existence. In an increasingly fast-paced world where the pressure for instant achievement often overshadows the process of inner growth, the idea of multiple lives emerges as an antidote, offering a path of continuous learning and soul evolution. For modern spirituality, reincarnation is not merely a notion of what happens after death, but a way to understand the human experience. It suggests that each life is a unique opportunity for growth, a chance for purification and learning that brings us closer to our true selves. Instead of seeking salvation in a single life, as official Christian dogma teaches, reincarnation offers a more compassionate and patient view of soul development, differing from the concept of eternally burning in hellfire or eternally resting in heaven. The notion of reincarnation was reintroduced in the West through contact with Eastern thought, especially Hinduism and Buddhism, where reincarnation is a central idea. Philosophers like Alan Watts, spiritual leaders like the Dalai Lama, and gurus like Swami Vivekananda helped popularize this belief, emphasizing that the cycle of birth and rebirth is a process of liberation and self-awareness. According to these traditions, a person's actions, their karma, not only shape their current life, but also their future lives, fostering a deep understanding of responsibility and interconnectedness among all beings. Over time, this perspective found fertile ground in the West. Rebirth and karma, once seen as exotic concepts, became foundational for reflection, bringing forth a renewed understanding of life and the soul. Beyond philosophy, reincarnation has also gained support within modern psychology. Researchers like Ian Stevenson, a psychiatrist and professor at the University of Virginia, devoted decades to studying cases of children who reported detailed memories of past lives. These studies revealed remarkable evidence where children from different parts of the world described facts about deceased individuals they had never met, recalling specific details such as names and places which were later verified. Past life regression practices, popularized by therapists like Brian Weiss, suggest that exploring experiences from previous lives can help individuals resolve deep-seated traumas, phobias, and emotional blockages that appear to have no origin in the current life. Rather than viewing reincarnation solely as a philosophical concept, transpersonal psychology explores the possibility that we carry past life experiences and that these memories, whether conscious or unconscious, impact our present psyche. Reincarnation remains one of the great existential questions, a mystery that provokes, inspires, and at the same time challenges our deepest beliefs. For some, the idea of multiple lives represents a key that opens doors to spiritual understanding and continuous growth, suggesting that the soul, like an eternal pilgrim, is always seeking its own truth. For others, it is a belief that does not align with their perception of what it means to be human and to exist, something that seems so distant from what the Christian tradition officially left us. Regardless of one's position, reincarnation is ultimately not a doctrine to be accepted or rejected blindly. It invites each individual to seek within themselves what resonates, to find answers that illuminate the path and bring inner peace. In the end, whether our essence is part of an eternal cycle of rebirths or a unique breath upon the earth, what truly matters is not the destination, but how we live here and now. What counts is whether we are living with purpose, compassion, responsibility, and a heart overflowing with love. Thank you for watching.